Hey everybody, welcome to another actor appreciation episode of the Quotable Podcast. I'm your host, Morgan.
I'm the other one.
Yep. I don't even know why I introduced myself anymore. It seems pointless at this juncture.
But it's still great.
Sometimes. But I digress. So in our last episode, we talked about the things that we enjoyed about Will Ferrell, and in this episode we're switching it up with another one of our fan favorites, and that would be the one, the only Adam Sandler. So I think we wanted to do an episode about Adam Sandler just because we've done a number of his movies already.
That we have.
And there's a good reason for that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of his movies, at least especially early on, a lot of his movies, to me, I've said this, and I think I may have said it during the two episodes when we did Billy Madison, when we did Happy Gilmore. I had said that they're the exact same movie. It's just they changed his name. And that was pretty much it. I mean, he acted the exact same way. You know, he's just like a 28, 29, 30-year-old child. Which to me, I mean, each movie is funny in its own right, but at the same time, it was like, okay. And then when he came out with his next movie, it's like, oh yeah, I bet he's going to be a 30-year-old, you know,
goofball. Yeah.
It just was, oh, what is it this time? You have to be a bus driver, you know, in order to save your family's farm or something. I'm like, ugh, lame. So I thought it was
change the record.
Yeah. But then as I've seen his evolution as an actor, I became very, very, very thoroughly impressed with his acting, which I kind of noticed the change for him. And not a lot of people like this movie, and I don't care. I mean, but it made the list for me, was Spanglish.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I thought he did a phenomenal job in that movie.
To be honest, I've never seen Spanglish.
Yeah, it's a great movie. It is. Like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, but now in my older age, and we've covered the movies, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, I appreciate those movies as well. Yeah,
I remember watching them after they came out. I mean, I was a fan of Adam Sandler already.
Right.
And in that time frame, I think I was in my early 20s at the time. Like, I appreciated that kind of humor. You know, it was stupid humor. You didn't have to put a lot of thought into it, but you still had to appreciate the character that he was bringing to the table. And it was just a movie, or I should say movies, that you could put on without feeling like you're investing your emotions into it. And I like movies like that. When, you know, maybe you're going through a hard time and you don't want to think about anything. You know, they were good for that, but just even if you want to have a movie playing in the background, they're great for that too. But I don't want to take anything away from what he was trying to deliver. Yes, they do seem like similar movies. You know, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. Yeah, he had a tendency to lean towards that kind of goofy, like offbeat kind of personality.
Right.
But I think people were already used to that kind of thing from him being on SNL. But to your point, the older he got, each movie that he came out with, he was able to bring something else that maybe you weren't even aware that he was capable of doing. You know, I think of, so yes, Happy Gilmore, then you have Billy Madison, then you have Waterboy. Yes, right. He's still being goofy, but it's a different personality, different character altogether. I felt like that movie had more heart, even though he was playing somebody who was maybe mentally not completely there. I mean, yeah. I don't even know the proper term. You know, I'm not trying to be offensive or anything like that, but you know, but he didn't come from a wealth of knowledge, you know, a family
right.
that was established intellectually, but he still, by the end of the movie, he did establish himself that he was actually a pretty smart guy.
Right.
He just never was given the chance because he was, I guess, socially inept.
Right. And then, you have other movies of his where he's evolved even more. Like, where it's like you can kind of see him be a goofball, but at the same time, it's him, I don't want to say having to be serious, but just him having to be kind of serious. Like, like Grown-Ups. There are scenes in that where he's a goofball, but then there are scenes where it's just kind of like, he plays a father who became successful and everything and built this phenomenal legacy for him and his wife and his kids and everything. And he goes back, not really for like a reunion, but their high school basketball coach had passed away. So he's just like, so him and his friends go back to, kind of honor their coach. And in the couple days that he's there, hanging around his buddies, as a guy, you can relate to that because you can be like, man, if you hung out with your friends a long time ago and you guys used to kind of be like troublemakers or instigators or things along that line, then you're just kind of like, oh yeah, for a fact that when you get together again, even in your late 30s, 40s, you're just going to be like, oh yeah, no, we're still idiots. So it's,
but those are the best kind of friendships, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where you can have months, years, whatever pass, and once you get back together with these individuals, it's like you fall right back in to wherever you left off, and you don't hold any grudges for, not staying in touch as much as you may have wanted to, or not seeing one another that frequently, because you understand that everybody has their own lives to live.
Right.
But the fact that he is able to make movies that are so relatable, especially, stuff that came out later on in his career, it just gave me that much more admiration for him. It gave me the impression that he was just making movies with his buddies, and that chemistry was there, like, every time.
Right.
So, Big Daddy, I think, was one of the first movies where I feel like you started to see this cast of characters that he would bring in on a consistent basis. So, for instance, you had Alan Covert that was in that one.
Yeah, Peter Dante.
Peter Dante was another one, yeah.
Kevin James has appeared in several of his movies.
Yeah, and that came out later on. Rob Schneider.
Yeah, and David Spade. I just kind of imagine those are more like, and Chris Rock.
Steve Buscemi.
I kind of imagine that was more along the lines of, like, just developing those friendships when they were on Saturday Night Live.
But the thing
together.
is, it's like you had certain people that were in movies together because they worked together on Saturday Night Live. But, like, none of these other people that he typically works with were from the cast of SNL. So maybe they hosted at one point or another, and maybe that's how they established.
I know Alan Covert and Peter Dante. I think that they were college buddies.
That seems like it would be
I think
accurate.
that's where they came from. But then you got, like, Rob Schneider, Chris Rock, David Spade. Those are obviously Saturday Night Live alums and everything. Kevin James, I'm not really sure how that dynamic started. I'm glad it did because, they have tremendous chemistry.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies is what is it? Damn it.
I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
Yeah, that was such a funny movie.
It is. It is a very funny movie, and Jessica Biel.
Yes, Justin Timberlake. You are one lucky individual.
Some bitch.
So that was one of my favorite movies of theirs, and I think it's just because it's like, what would you do in this situation? You have your best friend that you work with, you're both firefighters, and he's in a shit situation, you know,
where he's gotten divorced and
he's taking care of 2 kids.
Yeah, or I don't think he got divorced. I think his wife passed away.
That might have been it.
I think his wife passed away, and he had his 2 kids, and like his medical benefits or something weren't enough to cover him and his kids or anything. But it was like, oh, but if you were married, and then it comes out like, or even if you were in a gay marriage, then you get like top of the line benefits for practically nothing. So that's his way of saying, well, I gotta stick it to the man, which that's what we all want to do. We all want to stick it to the man.
Yes, i.e. the government. Because fuck them, that's why.
But, I mean, their dynamic in that movie was phenomenal. And then, I mean, another movie that I was actually surprised with him was Uncut Gems. That blew my mind. Because I never could have seen Adam Sandler playing a part like that.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I wasn't a fan. I was not a fan of that one. But I did appreciate that he was able to do something way different than he usually does. I mean,
I've only seen the movie once, but I remember I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I wasn't a fan of it, but I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't expect this out of Adam Sandler.
Yeah, but another...
What happened to the guy that's sitting on a sprinkler and he's like, that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? What is this?
Oh, he gone. He been gone. But one movie that I saw, and it was the first movie where he played a dramatic role that I had ever seen. And the movie was... oh God!
Was it that Netflix one, Hustle?
No. This was before that, and it was Reign Over Me.
I'm not familiar with that one.
So he plays somebody whose family died in the Twin Towers on 9/11, and
go no further. It's going to be Waterworks for me over here in a minute. Oh my God! It was incredible. Like, I already respected him as an actor, but what he was able to bring to this film was phenomenal. Like, somebody going through PTSD because they lost their family and they have nothing, and throughout the entire movie, to keep his mind off of everything, he has 3 things that he does. 1 is music, 2 is video games, and 3 is remodeling his kitchen. He remodels his kitchen, and as soon as he's done, he remodels it again. And then he remodels it again just to keep his mind off of, losing his family. Wow.
And he runs into his old college roommate, played by Don Cheadle, who was unaware that any of this had happened. He just sees the mental state that Adam Sandler's character was in. And he tries to help him out. He empathizes with him. But Adam Sandler is just in a place where he wants to be alone.
Yeah.
Even when he goes out in public, he puts his headphones on so he can drown everything else out. He doesn't want to be talked to. He doesn't want to interact with anybody. He wants to be in his, this is my not happy place necessarily, but this is what I need to not think about
what
I've
how
been
I cope.
through. Exactly. And so he would go to the record store on a regular basis to find vinyl that he can, pick up and listen to. And I think that's actually where he runs into his old college roommate.
Wow.
But it was a incredibly powerful film, and I would highly recommend that to anybody who hasn't seen Adam Sandler in a dramatic role.
I'll definitely have to put that down. I mean, because like I said, I've never seen it. It sounds very interesting to me. And I mean, anything like that. I mean, because, I saw, where he evolved doing stupid comedy, like the unintelligent comedy, like you were talking about,
right? To
kind of more intelligent comedy, where it's like, you have Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, The Waterboy, but then, you have like Grown Ups and Grown Ups 2. Those are both hysterical movies, but it seems like it's more intelligent kind of comedy.
It was more subtle. I think some of them still had some physical comedy mixed into it,
Yeah.
but he did step it up intellectually when it
Yeah.
comes to those. But then he also transitioned into the romantic comedies, which were also very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like you had 50 First Dates.
Dates.
That was definitely a good one.
Yeah.
Wedding Singer.
Yeah,
And
Blended.
I want to know where like him and Drew Barrymore started like doing stuff together.
That, I mean, I can't remember. Because to me that seemed kind of like an odd dynamic.
It was. But then again, how do any actors begin working together? But I feel like with Adam Sandler, obviously he established his production company, Happy Madison.
Right.
So he has a creative control in most of the projects that he works on, and I feel like he has that say so. Like, I want to do this movie, and I want so and so to be in it.
Right.
Because they were great in this, or I've worked with them before and I enjoy working with them. And I feel like he just does that because he can.
Yeah.
And why not?
Because I read something, or no, I didn't read it. I heard it on the radio at one point that they were talking about Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston being like incredible friends for years and years and years and years.
And I would have never in a million years guessed that they would even get along, let alone work together on projects.
But they were, I think, friends from like college days. Like that's how far back it goes. Because I remember even Brad Pitt talking about it, about just what great friends they were, where it was like, Jennifer, like if she had a big life-changing event or something like that, then it's like she would call Adam and be like, oh, I got this going on in this. And, they would talk for a little bit. And I didn't know that until recently. And it's like, okay, so that's what makes it more like, okay, so they did Just Go With It, which was a hysterical comedy.
Oh, God, I would love... I can't wait to do that one. We have to do that one for sure.
Murder Mystery, which that one was funny. I haven't seen the second one.
I need to give that one another chance. I never saw the second one either, but the first one, maybe I wasn't in the right mindset when I watched it, but I definitely want to go back and watch it again, and, just for him,
Yeah.
because I appreciate him, so much. I think it's probably better than I was probably giving it credit for, so I definitely want to watch that again.
Yeah. I've seen it a few times, and both times I watch it, both times I have watched it, it is so funny. Just because of his kind of like nonchalant attitude throughout the whole thing, because he plays a police officer who's trying to take this detective exam, but keeps failing the detective exam, but then finally like lies to his wife, who's played by Jennifer Aniston, and I think she owns a hair salon or something, and he was like, oh, I got a big surprise for you, and she was like, we're going on that trip to Paris or whatever, and he was like, yeah, we are. So it just turns out to be this huge lie that he's telling, and the way he gets caught up in it is hysterical, because he's out there, there's a murder that happens, he's trying to help solve the murder, and then they're like, and he was like, oh, well, who are you? And his wife's like, he just happens to be a detective from New York. So the inspector calls, and he was like, yeah, I've heard that you've failed the detective exam numerous times. And he was like, what? It must be some kind of mistake.
How do people know?
No, so it's a great movie, but it's also one of those ones where it's like he tried to go back to doing an intelligent comedy, which in that part, Jennifer Aniston actually compliments. It's just, just like Just Go With It. She complements his comedy with her own style of comedy.
Yeah, she's obviously the straight woman, I guess, in the sense that she doesn't put herself out there as, vulnerable as a comedian.
Right.
She can be funny just by being, I guess, herself, because at least that's how it comes across.
Right.
Like, she doesn't come across like she's forcing humor. It's just the way that she has to handle somebody who may be acting obnoxious or bringing her into situations that maybe she wouldn't have normally been faced with prior to that. And she definitely does that in Just Go With It.
Yeah.
But yes, that was funny. And Nick Swardson, he's another one that Adam tends to work with on a regular basis.
Right.
He's funny as hell. Like, he's funny as a stand-up comedian. And, we talked about him when we did the Grandma's Boy episode. And if you haven't listened to that one yet, go back and listen to that. If you haven't seen the movie, you definitely want to check that one out, because it wasn't Adam Sandler in the movie, but it was one of his who was produced by his company. Right. But it has Alan Covert, who's one of his regulars, one of his cast of characters. So even the movies that he's affiliated with, that he doesn't star in, you can still tell that it's got his kind of like stamp, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice when your style of humor, your style of comedy, it's become so recognized that you don't even have to be in a movie to tell, this looks like something that Adam Sandler had his hands in. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of cool, because I kind of chalk it up to when a producer is known for a specific style, like, of music. So I'll give you an example, like Timbaland. He produced a lot of music, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And he had I want to say signature sound, but he was able to switch it up. And I was thinking about this the other day, how he can do different styles of music, but you still knew that it was him that created it.
Yeah.
And I feel like Adam has a tendency to do the same thing with movies. And I think that's a fantastic thing. It's a great thing to know that people know that it's you. Yeah. So that's what I think he really has established himself as, not just a great actor, but a great producer and director.
Yeah. And I think that another thing that I've really kind of come to appreciate with him is his image, really.
I know what you mean. Because I think we've talked about this before, too.
I mean, because I can tell you, like, I don't dress nice. I don't have nice clothes. I mean, they're nice to me, but, I mean, if I spend more than $20 on a shirt, to me, that's just money wasted. And I don't even want to spend $20 on the shirt. Like, I could go, I would love to go to, big box stores or something and find, like, a pack of 6 T-shirts that are all the same that cost $11.99.
If they fit well.
Yeah.
They're comfortable.
Like, I don't need $400 shirts or, like, $800 jeans or anything like that. To me, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just get a pack of Shmoosh Massic.
Yeah, where he's just like...
Since they're not sponsoring us, I'm not going to say their real name. But I'm gunning for you guys.
Yep. But, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, he goes out wearing a Hawaiian shirt with basketball shorts.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And that's it. And I'm like, I can respect that. He's worth, like $500 million. Could probably buy all this nice fancy stuff.
I've never understood that concept of, I'm going to spend like $200 on a Gucci t-shirt. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, to me, it's like people do that because, and it's not even the fact that it looks nice. They just do it because it's like, oh, because I have the money and I can. Where, you just want to sit there and look at it and be like, why be a dick? I mean, come on. You can buy a regular T-shirt and that looks exactly the same as that,
if not better.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I've really come to respect about him.
He's wealthy, but he doesn't flaunt it.
Yeah. And he also comes across as the type of guy where it's like, I am wealthy, but that doesn't mean that I'm better than you. And, I've met famous people before in my life and everything, and I can just walk right up to them and, be like, oh, hey, man, how's it going? Like, nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Keith.
Yeah. And they're just sitting there like, hey, like, how's it going? And then, like, friends of mine have asked me, like, how could you just walk up and, like, shake his hand? And I'm like, why wouldn't I?
They're human beings.
He's a human being.
Yeah.
She's a human being. It's not like I'm walking up and just being like, huh. I was like, the only difference between me and them is they most likely have better credit. So
that may not necessarily be the case. I mean, some of them buy some ridiculous shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is very humble in his, lifestyle. And I've seen those pictures. I've seen those videos of him just out in public. Like, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't dress like the Monopoly man.
Yeah.
And why should he?
Yeah, and another person that lives along those same lines that I have a tremendous amount of respect for is Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah.
Does the exact same thing. That he takes public transportation. He'll go to a hot dog stand and get a hot dog and sit on a bench in a park and eat. He does all these things where it's just like, oh, you're a phenomenal human being. So, when it comes to Adam Sandler, and I think another story that I heard, and I think it was actually Brad Pitt that was telling the story, that I had a tremendous amount of respect for after I heard it was when Adam Sandler was in college and he was taking acting classes and doing theater and everything, and his teacher pulled him aside and was like, I'm going to be honest with you. Give up this dream. You're terrible. You are terrible. You're not an actor. Your performances, they're all horrible.
Yeah, because didn't he tell him over a beer?
Yeah,
he's like,
beer? He's like, come on. So he took him out for a drink and had this conversation with him. Well, like 15 years later, and he's making $20 million a movie or something ridiculous like that. He's out with his friends at a bar, and they bump into the teacher, and he was like, he could easily have sat there and looked at the teacher and be like, look at me now. You said I was worthless. You said I sucked. But he introduced him to all of his friends, and he was like, out of my 4 years of going to this college or 3 or whatever it was, he was like, this is the only professor that ever bought me a beer.
Yeah.
And I think that's an incredible story because, it just shows his humbleness to everything, where it's probably could have been like, it made him just work that much harder to become successful.
Yeah, and I think just people of his stature, and then people that share the similar mentality, that same humble frame of mind, they don't want to be pandered to. They don't want people kissing their ass because they're not going to grow. They're not going to, improve what they already have going on, and I appreciate that, and I feel that way myself. Like, I don't want people kissing my ass. I don't want people telling me that I'm great and I'm this and that. I'd rather them give me honest feedback.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not aware that I'm doing something wrong, or if I'm not aware that I could probably improve in some way, shape, or form, then I'm just going to keep doing it the same way. Not everybody is just going to force themselves to change for the sake of changing. If what you do works, you're just going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So I like that about him, because maybe that one conversation that he had, it could have changed his life.
Yeah.
He didn't stop his dream, but he realized maybe he wasn't as good as he thought he was.
Right.
But, I'm glad that he did change, because think about what would the world be without Adam Sandler at this point? Like,
terrible.
I don't even want to think about it. You got all these A-list celebrities that are doing like all different genres of movies, action. You got people like Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, Tom Berenger, all the Toms.
Yeah.
I did that on purpose. But
we're looking at you, Hiddleston.
Look at Holland. There's so many. And they all, they all have the things that they're good at. But think about if none of these Adam Sandler movies were ever made. I would feel like the catalog of filmography that we have from the late 90s to where we are now would feel a bit empty.
Right.
So I'm glad that he had the opportunity to do what he did and continues to do what he's still doing.
Yes. And I mean, and I think that, coming along, like, you and I doing this podcast and everything, I think that this gives us a good chance to, because I mean, a lot of people may think like you and I think, where it's just like, oh God, an Adam Sandler movie, who's he going to be this time?
Yeah.
And but now all of a sudden it's like, since we can sit down and dissect it and break it down, people probably could sit there and be like, wow, never really thought about it like that. Because I know that there was one point where I had never really thought about it like that, where I was like, oh God, another Adam Sandler flick.
Yeah.
So, but then, when you sit down and you enjoy movies like you and I enjoy movies, then you can tell something and you can see the evolution of an actor. And I think that probably one of the best evolutions that I've been able to witness over the past couple decades is Adam Sandler's evolution.
Yeah. And I could definitely appreciate that sentiment for sure, because I can't really think of another actor that really evolved in such a dramatic way like Adam has. The only person I can think that may be somewhat comparable, maybe Jim Carrey.
Yeah, possibly, but I mean, I've seen some of Jim Carrey's more dramatic roles and everything, and the performance may be good, but the overall concept is just terrible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like the number 23, I thought I was going to absolutely love that movie because I love mystery movies. I love horror kind of genre movies. And so, but the movie was god awful. So, and I can't really think of right off the top of my head of anything like serious that he's done aside from something like the number 23. Everything else has just been kind of like some weird goofball.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like
pain in the ass type of person.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that was the name of it. That was actually a pretty good one, though.
It was.
But, I don't want to make this into like I don't want to bash Jim Carrey at all, because I still appreciate his film as well.
Yeah.
But as far as like dramatic roles, another one, it was kind of a dramedy, I guess, if you want to put a genre on it, and that was Click.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was another really, really good movie where he was able to show his dramatic side, and I think, spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen Click, then that's not really on us.
Yeah, that's on you.
Click was a great movie, and you got to see him. Yeah, there were funny parts, and the scene that he had with David Hasselhoff playing his boss was so funny.
Wow, I got a splitting headache.
This is a scene where like he freezes him and
just beats the shit out of him.
Doesn't somebody like fart in his face at one point too while he was frozen? And then they unpause him. He's like, ah. I don't remember the concept or the context,
so
but
funny though.
But so there was funny scenes like that, but in the movie, his smart remote, I'm doing air quotes that you can't see, it learns from his habits. It learns that he was skipping past the difficult situations in his life, the mundane, the redundant, the arguments, for instance, where he just got to the point where he was on autopilot sometimes.
Yeah.
So in his mind, he's not actually experiencing it. So his autopilot version of himself would just answer in, I guess, generalizations.
Well, that's, I mean, which I can relate to, being a husband and a father and everything. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to skip past those points where it's like, Jesus, we're having this conversation again.
But then he realized later on that by skipping past these, he's missed quite a bit.
Yeah.
Next thing he knew, his kids were grown.
Yeah.
Like they had, gone out of the house, married, and all this shit. And it's sad. Like, you really, really feel bad for him, and he does a great job playing that just empty adult feeling like nothing but regret.
Yeah.
And I think that might have come out before Reign Over Me. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that was the first movie that I saw him in where it was more dramatic. And I want to say I shed some tears in that one, like at the end of the movie where he was basically on his deathbed.
Yeah.
And it definitely worked up some tears, not going to lie. I'm not afraid to share that. But that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good movie to have as a favorite. I mean, one of my favorites, I don't know. I mean, like, they've all been just so great when you are actually able to sit down and dissect them. Because I think one of the ones that always got to me, and I don't want to say like tear wise or anything, but it is sad to think about, but it was a phenomenal movie, is 50 First Dates.
Yeah.
Where you have this guy who meets this girl and immediately they hit it off, and then he sees the girl the very next day and he's trying to like hit it off with her again, and she's like, I have no idea who you are, because she can't remember anything.
Yeah, she has some form of amnesia where after she goes to sleep each night, she forgets what happened the day before.
Yeah. So, but he keeps trying to find, and then he just keeps trying to find ways to introduce himself to her. So, I mean, just one of the scenes that, I think I may have spit out a drink when I first saw it, was when he's on the side of the road and Rob Schneider's beating the crap out of him. And she pulls over and gets out of the car with a baseball bat and just starts beating him up. And he was like, "No, I think you got him." And then she was like, "I'll be right back." It's like chasing him down the hill. It's got to be one of the funniest scenes I've ever seen in my entire life.
Just as I suspect, he was a coward and a weakling.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Deeds. I mean, another phenomenal movie. But at the same time, it was just kind of like, Mr. Deeds almost seemed like one of those ones where it's like, okay, it's almost like Adam Sandler playing a part that it's himself, but at the same time, it's, you just kind of sit there and it's like, oh, well, there are some lines in it where it's like, like poor, like at the end when John Turturro realizes like he is the rightful heir to the radio communication industry that's worth $40 billion. And he was like, Deeds. He was like, you are such a great man. It's like, how can I ever repay you for all this? And he was like, hey, your friendship's enough, Emilio. Which I could see Adam Sandler saying something like that. But then he's like, how about the $1 billion? It's like, okay. All right. So it's like things like that. I mean, but still enough to appreciate. Yeah. Anger Management was another great one.
Yeah, we just did that one recently.
Yeah, which I totally forgot exactly how great Anger Management is.
Yeah, his chemistry with Jack Nicholson was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I really wish they would do something else together.
I would like to see that.
Yeah.
I doubt it'll happen, but, we can dream.
Yeah, so, I mean... I guess my parting words on this would be, thank you, Adam Sandler, for everything that you've done. And, we appreciate it. It's phenomenal. Yeah.
And I know you'll never hear this podcast or this episode, but still we wanted to put it out in the universe that your talent has brought us both hours and hours of joy and entertainment. And I'm looking forward to seeing whatever you do next.
Yep.
So that's all I got.
Yep. Until next time, Quotable Podcast out. Get in the flask. What? I'm talking about an 8-piece.